Lamar Jackson still hasn't got paid his full value. Now, in today's video, we're going to be talking about Lamar Jackson, his current situation, and how this ties into one of the biggest challenges that I see men face today, which is greed. So lately, so much of what you hear on the NFL and all these broadcasters are talking about Lamar Jackson and his contract negotiations. Right now, he's set to be a free agent. The Baltimore Ravens are going to continue. They want to extend his contract, and they've made him offers to make him one of the highest NFL players, but apparently it's still not enough. What do you guys think is going on, man? Because uh, a lot of people they'll say it's because of racism or some type of owner collusion that they're not trying to make him and pay him a guaranteed contract, um, and whatever. We all know he's an elite quarterback, and we all know that the Ravens and them, they want to be able to work it out. But regardless, I want to touch base on greed, and because greed is one of the biggest things that ruins men. And one of the main characteristics of being a godly man is not being tied to and being freed from all the love of money. Greed itself means that it is a selfish and a strong urge or desire for material possessions, especially money. Now, it starts with the culture, man, because everybody talks about it, from the rappers, from all the other people. They're always talking about chasing the money, going out there and, money over this, money over everything. Go right. Everybody talks about making money. And it all starts with that. It all starts with a seed of having a strong motive to pursue something. Now, the Bible is very clear. It says to not be lovers of money, that you can only serve two masters. You can either serve money or you can be able to serve Christ, but you can't serve the two. So for men, this is a hard pill to swallow, and that's because a lot of what we do and our responsibility is to provide for our family, and most of our day pretty much entails going around and making a profit. We place so much value on ourselves and what we think of ourselves based on how much cash is in our bank account. We feel good when we have a lot. We feel low when we don't, and this is why you can tell that money's become your idol when you start fixating and your whole value is dictated on how much income you have. Now, I'm probably preaching to the choir over here because I know you guys are all awesome. You guys probably don't struggle with this, and you guys will say, "Well, I'm not. I don't love money. That's not me." Well, you may say you don't love money, but yet you fantasize about it. Yet you set mile markers for it. You spend more time chasing money than chasing your wife around and chasing your kids around the house. You are willing to move across the state just so you can get a couple more bucks, and you're willing to ditch everybody in the other state and ditch your whole family over there just because you want to get paid a little bit more. So many people do that, and they get upset because their wife spends $5 on a coffee. And you know that most arguments, they start because of money, right? This is the one of the biggest reasons most marriages get divorced. They say it's because of money. Well, I don't think it's necessarily because of that. I feel like it's because the society has fallen away so far away from God. But now, don't get me wrong. I'm not against money. I've had moments where I've had no money, and I've had moments where I've had an abundance of money. And trust me, I'll prefer the latter of the two. I like having my bills paid. I like being able to take care of my family and being able to, give back and to be generous with the blessings that God has entrusted me with. But so I'm not advertising that you go broke for Jesus, and I'm not implying that I believe in the prosperity gospel. Of course, if you have a business, which I see Lamar Jackson is going out there and he's building multiple businesses. He came out with his workout thing, and I encourage that, man. I think every person should have a side hustle. Every man should be able to do something a little bit more, and to strive to do great things, to continue to push the envelope in certain things, and to win in whatever field that is. But those things should not come at the expense of others. So you should pursue a profit, but it shouldn't be because you're putting your own selfish desires in front of them. God plans In Jeremiah 29, verse 11 says, God's plans, anyways, is to prosper you, not to harm you, to give you a hope and a future. Okay? So I know that with God, we're going to be okay. Um, but, and Lamar Jackson ain't broke, okay? I mean, he could have gotten a 3-year, $133 million guaranteed contract, supposedly, and that would have put him, top of the market. And then he could, waited a little bit longer and got paid again, top of the market after, Joe Burrow, some other quarterbacks, they push the envelope a little bit more. Now, here's where things can start getting a little twisted for Lamar Jackson, is when he starts comparing himself, he starts comparing what he's got to what Deshaun Watson got. I think he's better and he's more deserving than Deshaun Watson, in my opinion. But comparison is a root of envy. And this can turn to greed real quick, because we know that when the devil has a hold of you somehow, that it's easier for him to take over you. This is called covetousness. That means that it's a feeling of having a strong desire for the things that other people have. Things as the 10th commandment says, you shall not covet. Covetousness is a lustful desire for something that does not belong to you, mainly like a wife, or in this case, love of money. Looking at somebody else's plate and saying, man, your plate looks a little bit better than mine. And I like Lamar Jackson, man. I believe in this guy, but evil company does corrupt good character. And I wonder who's speaking into his ear, because, he chose to not have a representative, to not have an agent, which maybe he could have had a deal already if he had an agent. And he spent more time pursuing his gifts than chasing the money. But I would be cautious of who's really speaking into your ear, Lamar. Who are you listening to? Because I know you had an interview with LeBron James, and man, we see what people got, and we like what we want to be where they're at, but we don't know what they did to get where they're at. You don't want to know what LeBron had to do, what he had to sacrifice, what character of himself that he had to suppress in order for him to just do what his master told him. Even in our scripture, it says that it is hard for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. It says that it is harder for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven than for a camel to enter in the eye of a needle. Now, how many people have succumbed to the culture and do what others tell them to do instead of doing what's right? Now, we see so many professional athletes in today and age, and movie stars, they seem like they have it all figured out. They got all the money. They're taking all the nice fancy vacations. And then at the end of the day, they're committing suicide, and they never found complete peace. And now they seem to have it all put together. And at the end of their life, it'd be a sad day to realize that at the end of your life, you worked so hard just to realize that everything that you worked for was meaningless, and that you can't store those things in heaven. All that work that you did to pursue money, it only corrupted your character, the character that God truly wanted you to become. Now, I look at people like Michael Jordan. I look at the greats. I look at people like Michael Jordan, who didn't get paid the most amount of money during his whole career, but at the end of it, he made more money than all of them because of the things that happened after that, the things that happened outside of basketball. Now, I think that Lamar Jackson is going to make his way back to the Ravens somehow, and they can work something out. I'm very hopeful for that, especially with the signing of OBJ. But still, I'm a still big believer in Lamar. But if anybody has ears to listen and they can hear me right now, I would just encourage you to pursue character over cash, to pursue your master over the money, to not be greedy, but be a cheerful giver, man, to store your treasures in heaven, not just in your bank account. And I hope this message made you think. I'd love to hear you guys' opinions on this. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about this. Where do you guys think Lamar Jackson's going to be able to end up? Do you agree? Do you disagree? What's your guys' thoughts?